Hey guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley, and featuring on this episode is going to be our Verity, Victoria Ireland from Make Our River Safer, and the guys from West Mercia Search and Rescue. Before we get into this episode, I've got a shout out. Lisa Jane, who is our contact for the Fox at Wrighton and the great work that they're doing there, has asked if I would give her daughter's event a shout out. And of course, do you know what? I would love to. And do you know why? Because Clara so far has raised £33,000 for Hope House. What an achievement. So in exchange for your young excellence, Clara, I will absolutely shout out your event. It's called Clara's Classic Convoy, and it is in aid of Hope House Hospice. It's a vintage and classic vehicle run. So if you've got a classic car, if you've got an old camper van you want to show off, or an old tractor, if you've got, I know some people collect like army Humvees and stuff like that. If you've got something like that you want to show off, this is the event for you. It's happening on the 24th of September 2023. It's £15, £15 for every vehicle, which includes the driver, and then £5 per passenger. And the price includes a hot drink and a sausage bath at Netley Hall. If you want to get involved with this, please contact the number 07398 654 232, or you can get in touch with me at The Biscuit and I will put you in contact with the right people to get involved. So that's Clara's Classic Convoy in aid of Hope House Hospice on the 24th of September. Always happy to do a shout out like that. Something positive, a young 15-year-old mind out there doing amazing things in the community. That is absolutely what the Shrewsbury Biscuit is about and what it's for. It's a message board for you guys. So if you have a positive message you'd like to get in front of a podcast, get in touch and I'll do that for you. Right, on to this episode then, river safety. Thank you to everybody that spoke to us, people that sent in comments and questions as well. You know, if you have any messages of support, if you got anything that you'd like to comment about this episode, please on the comments for this podcast, drop your comments, or you can email us at shrewsburyBiscuitPodcast@gmail.com. Love to hear your comments on this one. We tried hard with this one, so I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, let's do it, shall we? Hi guys, and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley.
Hi, I'm Verity.
Yeah, we're back together again.
Together.
The last time we met was a very sunny day at the food festival. So we did like what I thought was going. I was like 3/4 of an episode because I was like, we can do the rest tomorrow. You remember when I said that?
Yeah.
And then the next day, I was really ill.
No way.
I was really ill, like. I couldn't leave home. Just put it that way.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't leave home. So it was a very disgusting, very horrible day. The day after.
You didn't get your second day then?
No, and I felt really bad because Timmy was really, really disappointed. My 8-year-old son was like, "Oh, I'm going to do my own episode." I was like, "You get to host your own episode," and he had so many ideas. He wrote down questions he was going to ask people. And we didn't go.
Oh, bless him.
It was a genuine case of, I'm not putting this upon the people.
I can't risk it. Can't risk it.
And also as well, before we get into this very, very important episode, this is a very important episode for us, I want to give Shane Chebsey and Charlie Adlard a shout out, simply because we're going to be changing our music up soon with the launch of our new website. New logos, new things, and that music has been with us since the very beginning, and that was recorded by Cosmic Rays, which is Charlie Adlard's band. So it's I know I was looking for music, and Shane was like, "Oh, we got music. I'm in the band, you know." And Charlie Adlard, one of the greatest comic book artists on the planet, was like, "You can use one of our songs, no problem." So we will be changing it up soon, but I love that song. Check out Cosmic Rays. Now today we're here for a very special reason. We're currently sat on the picnic boat owned by the Sabrina. We're on the river. We're not taking out. They did offer us the opportunity to take the picnic boat, the barge, out, but I thought the engine noise would drown out the microphone. So we sat here just bobbing on the dock. And today we're with Victoria from Make Our River Safer. Hi, Victoria.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Let's turn you up a little bit because you're very quiet. There we go. Try again.
Hello.
Hey, that's so much better. To make our river safer. Obviously, there's going to be a theme here today. We're going to be talking about river safety and the things we can do, or, the town can do to make the river safer. And we're also joined by West Mercia Search and Rescue. Do you want to introduce yourselves, guys?
Absolutely, yeah. My name's Andy Neal. I'm member of the search team, and for my sins, I'm the fundraiser for the team as well. But I'm also an active searcher and search planner as well.
Fantastic. That's quite a list of roles there, Andy.
We all have a lot of roles in the team.
And yourself?
Yeah, hello. My name is David Brown. I'm also an operational member of the team. For my sins, I'm also a trustee of the charity and the treasurer. I really love this guy because he spends a lot of time raising money for us and all the works we do.
You guys do fantastic work. And I think, Verity, the most important word we heard there is charity, and not like just a thing that exists to make the river safer. That's interesting, right?
Yeah. You'd think it would be...
obligatory.
Yeah.
It would be like a thing that just exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in actual fact, we do get some support from statutory bodies, but on the whole, we have to provide all the money we need to operate. And as we said, everybody are volunteers. Every member of the team is a volunteer, and everybody qualifies to do the searching part of our role, and then opts for other roles within the team, like fundraising or specialising, say, in water searching. Or we have lots of specialisms within the team that people get involved in.
How big is the team? How many of you are there?
Yeah, there's 50, just over 50 who are operational at the moment. We have 16 who are non-operational, and that includes people who've taken on a role of logistics for us, drivers, and which is it's great because we used to have to do all the work, turn up, pick the vehicles up, drive to a rescue, do the rescue, come away again. Now we've got these guys who look after our logistics for us, which is absolutely fantastic.
All volunteers?
And everybody's a volunteer, yeah.
That's quite a crowd there.
I think it really adds to something when you hear that there's somebody missing in the river, or there's somebody suspect. You see it on social media.
Yeah,
I see a lot. The fact that everybody you guys that are out there searching are doing it voluntary. I mean, there might be people of the public as well doing things. And we'll get into that. We're going to get into what you guys do. But Victoria, I want to talk about Make Our River Safe. Where does that stem from? Because you got thousands of followers on Facebook. It's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, so it began in 2010, and it was set up by a group of friends who lost their friend, Joshua Efford, unfortunately. He was only 24 years old when he went missing after a night out and was found in the river. And his friend, who was one of the original people to set up Make Our River Safer, Cy Tildesley, is still very much involved with Make Our River Safer, and it's him and myself that run the page and action all the things that go on. So I got involved in 2014.
We've talked to people that have had serious tragedies happen, or parts of their lives that have been extremely affected and caused an emotional strain, and from out of that has come an event or a thing that they've created. I mean, Verity, you're a good example of that with the London Marathon bits that you've done, and we've spoken to people as well on the show. This just seems like Make Our River Safer. It's just like, out of tragedy comes this really good thing that offers such a good positive message about what's going on with the river.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's, the friends, the family, it's the community, and I think as a community in Shrewsbury, it affects all of us. We feel really strongly connected to one another, and I think that's how the impact that the Facebook group and page has been. It's been sort of pivotal in making changes. Hopefully, we feel to. Making the river safer, getting the council involved and raising awareness, delivering educational information into schools and colleges and cadet forces, going into bars and clubs and restaurants, and again offering training to staff to raise awareness. So hopefully we can prevent further tragedies. That's the key point. And also to keep the council, we're now part of Team Shrewsbury, so keep the council sort of, on the toes a little bit, to make adjustments and changes to put in more barriers, more CCTV, all sorts of things happening. So really positive stuff's going on. And again, it's because everyone's so passionate about it and do want to make change.
What would you say is like your biggest success as a group of people on social media?
I really feel that it's like the heart of the community. Arranging sort of things to teach our next generation that are coming up. So like the young people, going in, speaking to them, and spreading the message, because of course our society is very widely on social media, that hopefully people who read our messages, which are about how to float to live, all the key messages around water safety, and things to look out for, seeing vulnerable people. We're very much linked to sort of spike aware now as well, because there's been incidents of spiking, which is linked to incidents as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big combination. So we're proud of it all, to be honest.
Yeah, we spoke to Vince and to Nev before about the spike awareness strips that they were putting in through the bars and clubs and things.
They've developed a pretty amazing
system, haven't
they?
Yeah. Which it all ties in, doesn't it? Do you work well with search and rescue? Do you guys?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I love that. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm always sharing their posts and things, and we connect a lot. We would talk on, the meetings that we've had with the local council and things, and Team Shrewsbury, and they've helped me out loads with giving me lots of literature and training and sort of information, educational resources, and all sorts of stuff they've supported us with. They've come to like my local school. We had a fun day at the school and attended with the throw line training and everything, and just feel real massive support. It's been fantastic. So they do an amazing job.
It's interesting because we're actually deployed by West Mercia Police, so we cover Hereford, Worcestershire and Shropshire. We've got the River Wye in Hereford, we've got the River Severn in Bridgnorth, and obviously Shrewsbury, and also the river in Worcester. So even though we've got all these major towns throughout our region, the actual traction in Shrewsbury is a lot higher than anywhere else in our experience. We don't sort of get this engagement in any of the other towns. I know we tend to be focused very much in the Shropshire area. But it's actually much more difficult to get that sort of information and everything else from the other towns along the rivers.
I gotta say, I'm not originally from. I was just waving at Sophie from the Sabrina. Thank you, Sophie, for sorting this out today. And I'm not from Shrewsbury originally. I have never ever thought about rivers, a river so much when it rains. In the summer, like when it rains,
quite
I think
extreme, isn't it?
I know, it's crazy how much of a psychological effect this river has on people, grips people. When it rains really heavy, I think, I hope it's not bad in Colham.
Yeah,
it's just crazy, isn't it? Like,
yeah. And you can obviously go on all the websites and you can see all these river gauges. One is sitting alongside us now, and you can look at it on the river gauge website and actually see the river going up and down. You can see the height going up and down, and the sheer volume of water that comes through Shrewsbury when it's in flood is astronomical. It's hundreds of tons a second flowing through.
So you said you get more engagement out of sort of the Shrewsbury local area. Is there a higher number of incidents in this area than the other areas that you cover? Or is...
There seems to be, yes.
Right.
There seems to be. Unfortunately, we wouldn't necessarily get to know, but in my experience, there are usually more incidents in Shrewsbury, followed by Hereford. It's some peculiar thing. There don't seem to be that as many incidents in Worcester, for instance, or particularly Bridgnorth.
I wonder if it's geographical as well, because a lot of the nighttime economy is along the river in Shrewsbury, whereas in Worcester it's just a little bit off.
You've got the economy one side and the university the other, but a really good bridge between the two. And obviously, while the university do look after their students and try and get them from A to B, obviously we have had call-outs in Worcester. But Shrewsbury always seems to gain more momentum whenever it happens. It's
a higher concentration, isn't it, than sort of like Ironbridge? Ironbridge is it's obviously it's close to the river too,
Absolutely.
and there's bars there, and but there's just so many people here. So many people. Like Shrewsbury's like your typical river-based archetypal town where it's obviously started from the river and moved outwards. So there's just these streams of houses. It's quite nice.
I was chatting with a chap yesterday who was brought up in the town, and we were just talking about river safety and so on, and he was saying that he just remembers his childhood where, you know, they were sliding down the weirs, jumping off the bridges and so on. He said he would never do that, and as a father now of young kids, he said he's horrified by what happens now. Admittedly, the water is dirtier now than it used to be, but it's still as dangerous.
Did you see the post of Dilwyn, who owns the Sabrina? He waded out here and he's still walking, and it's like in a few years the Sabrina will not be able to operate in this river because of the silage and the muck,
the silt that builds up. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Certainly below the weir. I mean, I'm fortunately I'm too old now to be a swiftwater rescue, but I used to be in the water team. Out of our 60 odd members, I think we've got something like 20 members who are trained in swiftwater rescue capabilities. And certainly below the weir, if you go down towards Atcham and then beyond there, you couldn't get a boat like this down there, even this one, and you can't even get our inflatables down there. We end up walking them because there's just no depth left in the river. It's either silted up or there's too many trees or other obstacles.
The thing you've got to realise is as well, though, is that, you know, it might give people a full sense of security that you can actually stand up and walk in the river. Actually, don't think that, because the depth can change in different parts, and you can be up to your waist, and then all of a sudden it could be like the depth of like a double-decker bus or something ridiculous. And also the fact that there's hidden debris in the river. There's
a Spitfire in here somewhere, apparently, isn't there? I don't know.
Is that right?
No.
I don't know if it's a rumour or a myth.
A Triumph Spitfire.
Yeah, apparently there's a guy that used to like fly his Spitfire underneath the bridge, the blue bridge in the quarry, and one day he miscalculated. I don't know. Right into the Shrewsbury Biscuit if I got that wrong. But there's a spot. There's definitely a spot by Pew's funeral directors, and you guys can correct me. It's almost bottomless. It's ridiculously deep, and I think they dropped a prop from the Sabrina in there once, and it was just like they had to get specialists in to go and get it.
Even just looking upriver here underneath the Welsh Bridge from where we're sitting, the wall on the right hand side opposite the theatre. If you jumped in there, I think it's between 12 and 18 inches deep. If you went another 10 metres to your left out into the middle of the river, it's something like 6 or 7 metres.
Wow.
It shelves off really quick.
And these are the things when you're kids. I mean, I used to do stupid. When I was in the cadets, we used to pull up in Llangollen and jump off the bridge there into the river, bam. And it wasn't until some kid had a really bad tragedy. I was like, I'm not doing it again, ever. And I would never do it again now because I'm older. I'm kind of like, oh my God, broken bones and stuff. I've been here by the boathouse watching kids jump off the bridge there, and no care in the world, no worries about what troubles might happen. Is this something you guys see a lot on social media?
Yeah, and it's very concerning. Basically, you can, be, again, standing at the edge of of the river and be, at a bit where you're dangling your feet and you think, oh, actually, that's quite warm, we're in summer, such a thing. That feels quite nice, quite inviting. But actually, again, once you're in, the temperature can change rapidly. So you can be in, in I don't know, 16 degrees, which is still fairly cold, by the way. And then you can get in and go below 15 degrees, which then can send you into cold water shock. So
you get a layer of warm water on the top where the sun's warmed it up.
Yes.
But underneath it can stay very, very cold.
Yeah. And then if somebody goes into cold water shock, you basically, it doesn't matter how strong a swimmer you are, you can be, have done your life-saving certificate, you can be, a professional swimmer, you can be a very strong swimmer, but it doesn't matter about that, because basically to keep your body alive, all the blood's rushed to the core, to all your vital organs, and it basically disables your muscles.
Yeah, I've heard about this, the paralysis.
So you can't actually swim.
So as strong as you are, you're just sort of flopping.
Yeah, it's like a natural reaction, and also it's a natural reaction for the body to take a massive gasp, and it only takes half a pint of water to drown. So if you gasp as you fall in, and it's you're taking in a load of water, it only takes half a pint to actually drown. And basically, if you're unable to move, the best thing that you can do is to get on your back and float to live. And that's why it's very important to actually to try these things at the swimming baths when you go swimming. Try floating on your back, to stretching your arms and legs out in a starfish.
And if you're not an experienced swimmer and you got a gut like me, trust me, you'll float just fine. Yeah, it is a problem, especially if you've got a few jars in and you're walking home by the river, which we've seen so many times.
That's one of the big problems here with all the pubs so close to the river. Either accidentally or for a dare, people end up in the water, and things that Victoria's talking about start to happen.
Most people that are walking, is the majority of people that fall in the river, statistically, are people that were walking or running next to the river, but they had no intention of entering the water. So the statistics say that, river deaths and, dying in water, drowning, is the third biggest killer in the UK. So that's how big an issue that it is. And it's like when you're walking home on a night out, that's the thing with Shrewsbury, is it's so concentrated around the river that we all have to perhaps walk along one road or lane that's by the river, and also the bars and the clubs. It's got to be that everyone needs to know to stick together, look out for their friends, don't let anybody go home by themselves, or if they're vulnerable, if they're in this a bit of a situation, they've drank too much, make sure they get assistance, and don't leave anybody to walk along the river. If anyone's saying they're going to walk along the river home, they need to choose another route, because it's just not safe.
You know what, we've got listeners all around the world, genuinely, and this isn't me trying to brag, but like, you may be thinking to yourself, I live in Idaho or somewhere where there's not a lot of water, or somewhere, I don't know, and you might be thinking, well, what kind of like I said, this river takes such a psychological toll on people that live here, that this is a day-to-day thing for us. And you see the things on the urinals and the toilets, the boasters and stuff,
I remember once when I was younger, my mum's got some relatives that live in America, and I couldn't tell you now whereabouts in America, but they called her up one morning because the Shrewsbury floods were on their news, and they called her up. I was about 5, so it was 25, 30 years ago. They called her up to ask how everything was and if she was okay.
Yeah, we've had some very famous floods, haven't we? The one in year 2000, that was like the biggest we've had, and then
23. That could if that was the biggest, that could well have been the one.
There's so many in Shrewsbury.
Yes.
It's just one of those things that we have to accept. But if you stand outside Flaming Grate, there is a pink and blue circle on the floor with a QR code. You can scan that and get an audio tour of the Abbey, which I produced with the great Nigel Baker, which is fantastic. This isn't a plug, but it tells you that the river came right where the Wildlife Trust is on that the gyratory system bit there. That's where the river came up to, and over years, over us manufacturing the river and engineering it, it's got smaller and smaller and smaller. So naturally, time to time goes, do you remember when we used to go up here? And then it'll just take its way up there. That's where it floods, the way it does, And it's is that a problem for you guys as well, the flooding? Does it ever affect you?
Yeah, well, Dave can tell you more about this, but we are actually an accredited organisation with DEFRA to work in flooding. And Dave, you were part of that team, weren't you?
Yeah, well, we were part of the team, yeah. So we've just renewed our accreditation with Department of Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA, which means we can be called out anywhere in the country, basically on any flooding or any dam collapse, any water incident whatsoever. We've been called out to Wales, to Yorkshire and other sorts of places in the past.
The big one was a couple of years ago, Tenbury Wells.
Tenbury Wells was
yes,
a really big one. Yeah, we were out for about 4 days on the trot there, basically rescuing people from their houses and giving them food and water.
Is that the one with the flash flood? Was that where was that? Was that Cornwall? That was... Sorry, I've...
Oh, well, there was a very big flash flood down in Polperro, was it, in Cornwall, many years ago, which was just... I don't think anybody would have been called out in that. That was just a helicopter job, As much as this guy is very good at his raising money, the chances of us getting a helicopter are really slim.
Interesting. That's just reminded me, talking about the flash flood, one of the specific incidents in Tenbury, and this is something that a lot of people don't think about. We got called to recover a body, as it was, but what had happened was that a woman had driven a car across what had been a small ford turned. That wasn't the car, by the way. No,
Yeah.
a small Ford, and
I get the joke now.
sorry. But actually, the river was in flood, and a car can float with only 18 inches of water. And so what happened was the car got blown down the river by the flood water. She tried to get out. She got blown down the river and perished.
Oh.
And 2 days later, I think it was, we were way downstream, and we actually located where she'd ended up.
Something as innocent as a misjudgment of...
A misjudgment of, and you on the news we see all these pictures of people driving their cars through floods. Now, often that will be in the middle of a town and there's no flowing water, so the worst that's going to happen is the car conks and that's it. But if it's flowing, the car can be away.
How do you guys deal with that on a personal level? Because that must be horrendous to be part of that experience and
It is, and as we try and make it very clear to people when they join the team that that's one of our functions is dealing in those situations. We have a number of protocols in place which start at the simplest level of just making sure everybody's okay after an incident.
yeah.
But then we have a number of things available to the team members that we will pay for as a team. We have a psychologist, we have a padre, we have various sorts of therapy that are available to people if they feel they've been affected by that. And then going back to when an incident is taking place, if we have a find of that sort and somebody feels they can't handle it, then we're very careful to ask them to move away and to go back, perhaps back to base and work on something back at base. And only those people that feel that they can actually manage the situation will deal with the situation.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Victoria? Because I guess emotionally, whenever there's an incident in Shrewsbury, I imagine you guys must get a mass of followers and maybe people that have been deeply affected by an incident by the river. Do you guys speak to a lot of...
Yeah, we do. We get, a lot of messages coming in from family members and loved ones of people who have lost their lives, and we've built up quite a connection actually to a few of the families, and it does feel, really quite personal, and yeah, I mean, I've got children of my own, and I would like them to grow up in Shrewsbury and enjoy living in the town. It is a beautiful place, but at the same time, I dread to think of ever going through what some of these families have gone through and losing their loved one. But yeah, we get a lot of messages from people about incidents that have happened and things. Can we help? Can we support them? And yeah, it's really quite moving.
Yeah, I imagine. Because it does happen so often as well. It's like how many... does anybody have a statistic on how many lives get lost by the river every year, or on average? Does anybody know?
On this particular river?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think it's some in actual river deaths is something like one a week throughout the UK.
Oh,
wow.
A lot of those tend to happen at this time of year. It's nice and sunny. When the schools are broken up, there is a prevalence for the call-outs to increase. Obviously, in Shrewsbury, the fire and rescue service over here are just magnificent. They know exactly what to do when they get the call. Unfortunately, when we get the call, it's normally after the fire and rescue service have done what they can do and have not been able to locate anybody, and then we get called out to do the search.
And there are searches
by that time, it's usually, probably too late, shall we say.
And the reality is that as a voluntary organisation, we can't respond in the same way as a professional organisation can.
I was thinking that. You must have people in varied locations.
Absolutely.
But you're not required to be in a certain location in 20 minutes. You've got to...
No. So an hour would be as quick probably as we would get to a location, which obviously is too late often, and sometimes it's 2 hours. And sometimes it might be the next day because the police or the fire have done the initial searching and then said, actually, we need more support, we need more help, we need more feet on the ground.
Do your volunteers have jobs? So
absolutely, everybody
you have
does,
to work around that as well.
Yes.
Or do people go, I've got to go?
It depends on your employer. I mean, I'm self-employed. A lot of our team are self-employed, but we have people from the military. We have paramedics. We have office workers. We have firemen. Everybody, every single walk of life. So at that particular point, when the call out goes out, it's really just a case of saying, am I available? Have I got my kit with me? Because we do carry a lot of kit. And how long will it take me to get to the call out? So, for instance, for here, we normally deploy from the slipway over there at the marina. We have 2 boats based in Bridgnorth and 2 boats based in Kidderminster. It's likely to be 90 minutes from the call out before we get any resources on site.
Yeah.
And from then we just develop a plan as to where we're going to go and search. And clearly it can go on for days. In fact, it frequently does.
Such a vast area as well. Shropshire, so, you know,
Yes.
and then Worcester as well. You know, like there's so many places you got to look.
Yes.
Yep.
I guess after experience, you must know that the hot spots, the most important places to go and look first.
Indeed, I mean, there's 2 levels to that. I mean, just picking up on what Dave was saying about how long we might be searching for, the sad case of Nathan Fleetwood.
I was going to bring him up. Yeah.
After initial searches, we did 9 days of searching across 2 weeks before we actually found him.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you for doing that.
That was an awful lot of work. It was our kayak team that eventually located. And that gives you an example of the scale sometimes of what we do.
Yeah, it's never easy, I guess, for you guys.
Yeah, because I actually took the duty call for that one. I was working in Shrewsbury at about mid-afternoon, and the phone went off, and I took the call, and your sort of blood runs cold instantaneously because you think, oh dear, this is another one. Obviously, the fire service have done their job, the police have done their job, and then we're basically called out to see if we can provide extra resources and do an assist. And as I say, unfortunately, the guy, I think he went missing around about midnight, something along those lines. So we didn't get called until 2 p.m. And if you think about the logistics of the river and what goes on in the river, somebody who's been missing in the river for that long or suspected they've gone in the river, you just pray that actually they've got out and they've gone somewhere. We actually want to find them at a friend's, or in a garden somewhere.
Yep.
That's what we really want to do.
Can I just say about what people are to do in the event of emergency?
Oh, please do.
So if you see somebody struggling in the river, whatever you do, don't jump in to rescue the person. You must call 999, ask for the fire and rescue service, which a lot of people don't know who to call for, who to ask for when they dial 999. Also, located along the river are life buoys. And on those life buoys, to release them, there is a code as well, which gives you your actual location to the emergency services.
So you could be on the phone to emergency services saying, I'm at post 445 or something.
Yes.
Is that one over there?
Yes.
That red? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
One further down.
So
Okay. So
you
they're
can-
fairly.
There's 68 of them, I think, in
Right.
Shrewsbury on both sides of the river.
Yeah.
So you can get one of those out and launch it at the person. But also a lot of the bar staff now along the River Severn are throw line trained. And if you can get somebody to come out and help by throwing a throw line, there are some throw line boards as well. There's one in the quarry. Those you can access as well. And I advise anybody if they would like to get to do throwline training to either get in touch with the Make Our River Safer Facebook page or the West Mercia Search and Rescue guys.
I wanna
They're always
do it.
doing training
Can I do
days.
it?
Absolutely.
Sign me up. Instantly, I want to get involved.
And I think that the throw lines are, in many ways, more useful than the old-fashioned life ring because they can be thrown much further. So
absolutely.
if somebody's in the middle of the river, there's no way you're going to get a big plastic ring to them.
Yeah. The most chance that somebody's got of surviving is to shout to them to stay calm if possible.
Lie on your back.
To lie on the back, to float. And to get help as quickly as possible. But, if you can think of those actions, then hopefully it will help in an emergency situation.
Because there was those 2 lads last year, the one that jumped in, did he end up paralysed, or there was a serious issue with him because
Wasn't
he
there?
jumped in to save someone?
Dan Walker, yeah.
So, I mean, even if you're young and athletic, jumping into that river to try and save someone's going to be a huge shock.
Yeah, so the lasting effects, the damage it can cause to your body is that Dan Walker's now in a wheelchair and struggling to, get around and things. He's an amazing, inspirational person and he's doing really well considering, but it's changed his life forever,
I'd love to speak to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dan, if you listen to this, get in touch. We'll get you on the biscuit. So let's talk about like when you guys first get the call, when the bat phone goes off, and you're going to go and get prepared. That's from the first stages right till you're drawing yourself off a grid of how to search proactively on the river without going back on yourselves.
Those were the old days.
Yeah.
We now have a computer or an internet-based system where we start plotting things on. But Dave is one of the people who's on the emergency phone, so he might kick it off, and I'll pick up in a moment.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Thank you.
No pressure, Dave.
Yeah, no pressure whatsoever. Yeah. So when the phone goes off, basically, it will either be the police or the fire service usually, and they should be able to give the details of where the person is, who they are, what they look like, what they were wearing, what's happened, and a brief scenario of what they've done so far. We will then, we have, as Andy said, an internet-based system called SARSIS, which allows us to alert every single member of our team who's on call through the mobile phone. So as a planner, I can put on all the locations where the rendezvous point is, what equipment we need, what we need to do first, and just the general details. I can put it onto the phone, we send it out as a message, and then slowly but surely people start to respond. So in places like Shrewsbury, people will turn up within 15 minutes. Maybe the assets, the boats, the kayaks will turn up within maybe an hour to an hour and a half. And then we'll just start to plan from there, depending on what assets we've got. So basically on the water side, we have 3 teams. We have what's called bank search teams, which are people with the right protective gear like life jackets and helmets and throw lines and everything, who can go out and search the areas of the riverbank where they can actually see into the river. We then have kayak teams. Our kayak teams are absolutely brilliant because they can deploy very quickly, they can get in and out of the river in very remote spots, and they can get into all the vegetation. One of the things about the River Severn, as you can see from here, is there are trees overhanging the banks, there are bushes, there are pontoons, there are other bits and pieces, and it doesn't matter what the depth is, they only need 2 or 3 inches of water, and they can get in and they can look in amongst the trees, they can go amongst the pontoons and the debris. And then thirdly, we have the boat teams we've got 3 and 4 metre inflatable boats with outboards, and they can cover much bigger areas. They can go out up and downstream and look in the middle of the river, and those teams can either be equipped with the sonar. Both of our boats, we have sonar equipment attached, and we can actually look at the bottom of the river and look into the weeds, and we can see if there's anything of interest in the river. And over the last 9 months, we've also bought a remotely operated underwater camera. So if the sonar...
A bit like a drone.
It is
an underwater drone, yeah.
Wow.
Fly-by-wire underwater drone, which we've purchased. So if we were searching in this area of the river here and the sonar team picked up something on the bottom, then we can send in the underwater drone. It's got lights and everything, and you can actually home in on what that might be. And the drone can send back pictures from underwater to our control vehicle so that we can actually see what's going on. And then added all to that, we've also just purchased another air drone, which is a search and rescue drone, which has got thermal cameras, zoom cameras, infrared cameras, and all sorts of other bits and pieces on it. So our drone team can actually, from the land, fly the length of the river and look and pick up images, and all those images can be beamed back to our phones and the control vehicle. The amount of technology that's available these days is mind-boggling. If I ever get to understand it, then that would be good.
If I can just make a slight plug for the new drone that we've just bought, and particularly as the water companies are getting very bad press at the moment, the Severn Trent Community Fund actually have funded the large part of that drone that we've just bought. So it's a big thanks to them for doing that. But part of that is because obviously our close connection with the river after which they are named, the Severn Trent. So that's going to be a fantastic asset for us.
I was going to say, you must be doing some really immense work with your fundraising to be able to afford all of the kit that you've got, because Well, it's life-saving kit, isn't it?
It is
amazing.
Absolutely, and it needs renewing as well. So every 5 years or so, 10 years for some of the kit, it has to be replaced. And then obviously with the drones, for instance, we have got some other drones, but the way that technology is moving these days, within 3 or 4 years, it's moved on so far.
Yeah.
So now the new drone can fly for half an hour rather than 10 minutes. It can fly in much worse weather conditions than the old drones could.
Yeah, it can fly in the wet, it can fly in windy conditions, automatic pilot. It's fantastic.
Well, what Steve, our drone lead, was telling me yesterday was you can show it on a map where it's to search, and it goes and searches that area for you.
Wow, that sounds so cool.
It is.
Can I come and have a play sometime?
Absolutely, yes, you'd be welcome. Yes, yeah.
I remember we interviewed the last mayor, Elise Roberts, and she was saying she went on Shrewsbury's very own submarine, and my mind crashed a little bit. It was like MS-DOS, and I was like, Shrewsbury submarine? She was, it's not in Shrewsbury, it's Shrewsbury's own submarine. It's named after Shrewsbury, HMS Shrewsbury, I think it is. I was thinking, oh my God, how cool would it be to have a little submarine coming up and down the Severn? You could do archaeology, you could do tours, you could do rescue missions. So let's put our money together and get Shrewsbury.
A yellow submarine, yeah. Yes.
Victoria, what would you like to see happen to the river to make it safer? Is there something that you guys are dying to see happen?
Yeah. Well, we seem to have achieved a lot so far. We're really pleased with how things are going, but it's a constant thing that needs monitoring and assessing and self-analysing, really, to see if everyone's doing as much as they can possibly do. Obviously, Town Council have done quite a lot. They had a motion passed about improving river safety. Had a big report done by WSP to see areas of risk and how things can be changed and improved, and that's equated to a lot of money being spent on new railings along the river, increased amount of CCTV, increased amount of lighting. So there is a lot of progress happening, but we'd like to see a lot more. They've also got rangers that go around the town now, which fill in a bit more of the gap of what the pastors were doing, and the street pastors are absolutely big shout out to them because they're absolutely incredible.
They do a great job. They do.
Yeah, they make such a difference. They're patrolling the town, keeping everybody safe on the nights out. But there's obviously 7 days a week, and again they're not funded or anything. They get donations given in. But it's all done by volunteers. So we try and help recruit people to help join the street pastors. They're called donkey buddies, so you don't have to be religious in any way. You just have to have some free time, want to help your community and get involved. So again, we take names of people and put them in touch with the street pastors and to get them on board and patrolling the streets. So if we could get more people and more patrols, that would be absolutely fantastic. That's one area that we're trying to increase in. And also to deliver more educational information out to schools, colleges, university, business places, the bars and the clubs to take their role. But it's a big part of what we're doing now is to link with the Spike Aware UK, which is also run by myself. But that's Spike Aware UK is ran by Colin Mackey. And he said, I could set up a group in Shrewsbury. So he supports me with that. And that, again, is going into the bars and clubs to raise awareness about spiking and the impact that can have and making somebody more vulnerable, more chance of them falling and things like that. So, yeah, there's lots happening, but still lots need to be done. And it's a continuous thing of growth.
Victoria, how do you find the time for all this? You're raising such awareness. I mean, you're hitting the pubs and the bars and stuff, spiking, education, river safety, CCTV. These are things that should have made the river safer, and it seems like you're constantly fighting this, it's like...
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely am passionate about it. And it's like, I just feel strongly about my community, and Shrewsbury people are amazing. And we all, we've seen that how everybody came together, at difficult times, came out searching. We all pulled together, and that's the thing. And I've got this great sense of community, that we do have a fantastic community, and that it's just that we all do our bit if we can.
And yeah, it is nice to see how the community does pull together, especially the Nathan incident, because it was there was lots of people out there helping out, wasn't there? Lots of volunteers. And when they dressed up that bridge after they found him, it was such a beautiful, bittersweet thing to see. Yeah. And I spoke to his family. We go to the football every week, and they were at the football, and they come and say hello. And we were meant to do a show, and alas, they found him, so we didn't do the show. And I didn't want to base a podcast on somebody else's misery. I didn't think that was very fair, but big shout out to them as a family. They were very, very proactive in trying to do the right thing, and this must be something you guys must see an awful lot as well. Is there sometimes like a situation where maybe it's a little bit too much from the public, that you need, like, actually we need to get on with our job? And you guys, I appreciate the sentiment, but
absolutely, we appreciate the sentiment, and people really want to help, and perhaps don't understand that what they're doing may actually damage the situation. So, for instance, if the police want to send search dogs into an area and members of the public scoot across the area, they completely spoil any traces, any smell or anything. So it's far better for whatever happens to be organised by the police or people who know what they're doing. Having said that, there is a place for the public reaction, and we try and work with it whenever we can.
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it? 'Cause,
absolutely.
Like, something happened to a member of my family, I'd be out there straight away. Do you know what I mean?
And the danger is with that. Is enthusiasm the right word? I don't know. But with that passion, you can endanger yourself, and that's the other thing. That unless you take a measured, professional approach to things, people can get themselves into situations that then mean somebody else has got to be rescued.
Sure.
Yeah, Shane Game and Carol Fleetwood and Jez Fleetwood have had a massive impact of making change and making differences. They've been a big part of involvement in meetings of Team Shrewsbury and things like that, and they have really made a massive change to help keep people safe. So yeah.
And this is what I meant earlier about good things happening out of tragedy. These horrible things that happen, but with the experience and the education learned from that, could actually go on to help educate a bit more, and do good things for the future, which is, like I said, bittersweet to see. You don't want to see anything that bad happen to someone, but when something good comes from it, bittersweet. I've said that about 4 times now. It's really hard when you're in a situation where, like, I've never been through that situation of losing someone in the river. But you try and find the right words to say, and from someone who lives in Shrewsbury, this is, like I said, part of our lives. At least once or twice a year, we're seeing these stories. It's must be really hard. Is there something that you guys would like to see happen to the river? Is there any bits of equipment that you need to be on the side of the river? Is there something that you don't agree with how the river's dealt with, managed, and stuff?
We're actually represented on Team Shrewsbury, and also we work with Shropshire Council and Shrewsbury Town Council. So we're very much part of some of the initiatives that happen. I know there's a new initiative that's just coming on stream about replacing a lot of the signage, both on the river and adjacent to the river, and also in the pubs and clubs, which is coming on. But at the end of the day, we're just a set of volunteers. We probably spend about 40% of our time fundraising, 30% of our time training, and the rest of it actually going out on call-outs.
Yeah.
So there's only so much we can do, unfortunately, and we're not. We'd like to leave it to the experts and other people to actually make those sorts of recommendations rather than get involved with that.
It can be a big thing as well, of like mental health is a big issue as well, and raising awareness about that. That. If you're feeling that you don't want to carry on, to seek help and reach out, speak to people. There's hopefully going to be some signage going along some of the bridges that we've got, in Shrewsbury, so the railings and things, so little messages of hope and things, and sort of to help people with their mental health. And again, the Samaritan's fantastic for that. And also the street pastors even have been and attended and spoken to people and helped in situations. You know, they've saved so many lives and made such a difference as well. So I do want to shout out to them again.
I was thinking about what you said earlier, Victoria, about either if you find yourself in a situation where you're in the river and you go on your back and starfish, and also if you see someone who goes in the river, and it just made me thought, I went swimming before I came here, and they've got on the side of the swimming pool, haven't they? Don't dive, don't run on the side. When you say signage, like, would you have like a little, this is what you do in this situation, just maybe dotted along the river to sort of say, if this is where you find yourself, here are the top tips, like short and brief.
Good. Yeah, that would be good, to be honest.
Because people don't always listen or read the paper or look at leaflets or whatever. But everyone who's along the river, even subconsciously, or just scan a small sign.
Yeah.
I mean, as a charity, we run the Home and Dry course, which is on our website, westmerciasar.org.uk, which is a free course that you can actually do online, which teaches you all about what happens when you go in the river and what to do as a bystander and all, everything that you can possibly do. And there are signs for that actually along the river as well. So I would recommend, I think currently something like 15 to 16,000 have taken that course.
Oh, that's
and it is
huge
entirely
number.
free.
That's brilliant.
Something that anybody can do at any time.
The school's been taking it on, teaching it,
groups,
and
everything.
Brilliant.
one or two companies have done
That's
it.
what you want, isn't it? To spread that education
Yes.
of what to do. And
So there's all these sorts of initiatives. I live in Warwickshire, and in all our local pubs, Warwickshire Fire and Rescue have got beer mats on with exactly the same thing written on the two sides: what to do if you find somebody in the river, and what not to do, and all the bits and pieces to do. And they work fabulously, because you used to see people sat in the pub just thumbing there and actually looking at. To be honest, the personal view is, if you're actually out here, you're not going to stop and read a sign.
yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
Actually sitting there with a beer mat.
I think that's ideal.
And that's another initiative I think Team Shrewsbury
I've shared
take forward.
quite a few of the beer mats and things, and there's the Don't Drink and Drown initiative,
That's good,
and I've shared beer mats around the bars in town, and also the runners and things, and then put posters up on the back of the toilet doors and back of the ladies' back
I've
of the
seen
men.
them.
Yes.
I've seen them.
Good.
Not the ladies, though.
Alex.
Okay. Another thing is fear as well. We're not trying to make people scared of the river, more aware. You know, this is a place that enjoys a lot of water sports. We've just seen people rowing up and down now. We've just seen people paddleboarding up and down here. It's all about being sensible, right? You can, I mean, the boathouse, they have the regatta. Is this a regala then? Why? But they did, you know, this is a town that enjoys the waterfront. So, I mean,
it's important to encourage people to enjoy the water, but to obviously do it safely. Yeah, and to go to organised events and things, you know. So if it's, you know, organised by a team, you know, there's canoeing, there's paddleboarding and things on the River Severn. You know, people make sure that you know, wearing life jackets, make sure that you've taken the safety training before you get involved in that sport, and also to inform your loved ones where you're going, what time you're going. You know, mobile phones now have location enabling on them. That's helpful, and also to, like, you know, take part in like your local swimming baths, or, you know, Alderford Lake. Take part of things that are organised events and things, or organised sports where there's safety provisions in place.
in a world where air tags are now very readily available, they should start selling Speedos with air tags in them, just in case, you know. What a great thing that is. Where are my Speedos? There we are. I've loved doing this. I think it's really, really important. But what I did do is I put out on social media and asked for some questions. Hope you don't mind.
Oh dear.
Just like, has anybody got any questions? Because we're doing this thing. And
Verity, you can answer these.
No problem.
Alfie McFarland on Instagram says, doesn't certain parts contain stronger undercurrents which can't be seen from the surface?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So it might look really calm at the top here, but underneath there's a raging current that might take you.
Yeah, I mean, because there's a bridge here, obviously the river has to speed up to go through the bridge for a start, because there's less area. It's nice and wide before the bridge, and it's nice and wide after the bridge, but because you've got the piers in the middle, the water has to speed up to get through the narrower gap. So not only will the current start to change by the bridge, but the vortexes and all the other bits and pieces will mean that probably 50, 100 metres down, it's still swirling as well. And there'll be trees and all sorts of other obstacles that can make the currents radically different. It can look nice and still, and then all of a sudden you're gone. And it only takes 6 inches of water travelling at walking speed to sweep you off your feet.
Wow.
Apparently it's equivalent to like 8 massively large dogs dragging you along at speed.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, considering as well, like, you're probably not standing on steady ground. If you're mucking about by the weir as well, you know, that's not going to be steady ground. It's sort of slippy and stuff. So, yeah, very, very important to learn about. And Kate Taylor from Walking the Straight Line, great friend of ours, she said, what should we do if a friend or family member falls in? But I'm guessing that question will already have been covered. I've often wondered what I'm meant to do. Well, we've kind of covered that. I should have probably put that right at the beginning. Thanks for that, Kate. But yeah, so ring 999.
Yeah.
Follow the person in the river. Tell them to lie on their back and look for a throw line.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a buoy that you can access, and you give the code to the fire service and rescue. Yeah. So
Talk to them, shout at them, because when you're down very low in the river and your head's just at water level, it's really difficult to find out which way you're pointing. So you need a point of reference, and the more you can shout and holler and create and basically make a noise, the more likely they are to find their way to you.
And the other thing they say is that if you can't get the ring out or the throw line in time, if there's something else you can throw to them, like even a drink bottle, anything that's got buoyancy, a football,
backpack,
a backpack, anything that floats could help, could make the difference.
Good point.
Nice bit of rowdiness there. The Sabrina have got a private event going on there. They do great things. Yeah, it's. I lost my train of thought now because of that.
You were asking questions.
Well, that was it. That's all we got for now.
Can I link to the fact that if you're out having a great time, having a drink, I sound like the real spoiler of joy, don't I, tonight? But, what I'm saying is if you're out having a great time, having a drink, again, with the spike awareness, don't leave your drink unattended. Don't take a sip of somebody else's drink that you haven't bought yourself. If you see a friend or a loved one, or just you feel weird yourself and you know that you're the designated driver tonight, or you've only had one drink, all these are signs and symptoms that you could have been spiked. And the thing is to seek help immediately, go to a member of the staff, the bouncers, again, inform your friends, and speak to the management, call the police, and get assistance immediately, because you need to go to A&E. They can run some tests to see if you've been spiked, because the incidents are increasing, especially in Shrewsbury. It's becoming quite a problem. So yeah.
Is the town guardian? Is it the town guardian as well? Those security guards that go through town. I wonder if they're river safety.
Yeah.
The rangers. Is that I saw them not long ago. I'm just terrible with names. I wonder if they're river safety trained. That's a good thing to.
Yeah,
to
I think
ponder
so.
about.
And also the fisheries rangers as well.
Yes, we forget about the Rebrook. It's right by there. They're great guys. They are. They do such a great job. And this is a thing as well. I live right by the Rebrook in Shrewsbury. We go out there and we see kids out there by themselves. There's a little beach bit in the middle there that kids, jump in the river and stuff like that.
The thing we do want to see more of, and that we want to see changing, is more readily available transport for people to get home after nights out, because we need more taxi companies, and we need more safe transport. So myself
resort to
walking home, and that's not good.
Just a bigger Uber presence would be great.
Yeah. Myself and part of Shrewsbury Bid, Stephanie Mansell, we've been sort of going in and out of talks about getting a transportation system in place of the minibus that goes round the main loop of the town and goes on constant loops through the evening, to dropping people off at different locations after nights out, and charging such an amount to get onto the bus. But to raise the funding for that, to pilot the scheme for 6 months, is about £40,000.
Wow.
So that's that's going to be the next sort of project and push, hopefully, in the future.
I'm glad that you guys are talking about this, because it is a conundrum, isn't it? Especially when you've lived in a wild cop, it's such a steep hill and stuff. So rickshaws and things. That'd be a good idea. A nighttime rickshaw service. We're laughing, but I mean, it's doable.
Yeah, could happen.
Yeah, they have them.
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, over about the last 5 years, we, as a team, have done safety patrols on this particular section of the riverbank over Christmas and New Year. So probably 4 or 5 times over the Christmas New Year period, we'll get 6 or 7 people out as a team and actually patrol all of these footpaths and the areas around the river. And it's not unusual for us to have to either drag people away from the river or actually out of the river. We have done that on numerous occasions over the years.
So what did you say to if you see someone mucking about by the side of the river that don't walk by, try and say something to them, would you say?
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Is it worth the risk of...
Say something from a distance.
Yeah.
Hey! Oi.
Yeah, I think that there's a way of going about it, I suppose, isn't there? But also, if you feel vulnerable yourself by doing that, or feel that you're putting yourself in any shape, form of risk, then call the police. You can also try and find the street pastors, because they are, mucking about, all the rangers, and say that, I've seen somebody. I've had messages come in on the page and saying, I've seen somebody. Can you help, and things like that. And
that's a good shout, actually. Because sometimes I know we're living in an age now where social media can sometimes be a lot quicker at solving problems than emergency services. I'm not saying don't call emergency services, but I'm saying once you got off the phone to him, sometimes a picture there'll be friends or family or people that recognise the person that will do it. And as well, I was going to say, do you guys have a protocol for friends and family that have had problems with the river, that like a helpline or something?
We haven't got a helpline in place at the moment. We've just got, they can sort of message us, and messages will come in. We'll get notifications of messages, but that might be a thing to think about, actually, of a helpline, because
Shropshire Mental Health Service. We just did and they deal with loss and
we do have a bereavement group, which is run by Shane Game, who lost Toby Jones. And she's an amazing woman, really inspirational. And she runs a bereavement group now in Shrewsbury to help other people who have lost loved ones. And it's on a Tuesday at 12:30 till 2:30, and it's based at the the name's gone totally out of my head.
Oh, that happens.
But you can find it on, Shropshire Bereavements on Facebook, or again, we send and share links and advertisements on our Make Our River Safer page as well.
Are you guys
Mystique, I think it's Mystique it's called.
Yeah?
On Enadale, is it on Enadale Road, Mystique? But I've been there quite a few times, so I should know where it is. So it's 12:30 till 2:30. And it's on fortnightly on a Tuesday. So again, if anyone thinks that they've been affected or they'd like to go along, again, they can message and have a look.
Excuse me while I be really rude. I want to, the Sabrina's taken off now. I want to get a video of us recording and the
and Sabrina going.
Yeah, I got to say though as well, fresh water is completely different to what you see at the beach or what you see in the swimming pool. We were in a place near Barmouth in the summer last year, and I jumped off this cliff into this lake, and it was so deep. But the shock of that the water wasn't very buoyant or airy. And I was like swimming to the top. I was like, where is the top? It takes you by surprise, doesn't it? How it is different swimming in a river or a lake.
Very different from the support you get from salt water, yes.
Yeah.
If you want to have the experience of swimming in fresh water, then you can go to Love to Stay. And again, it's a lot safer option to do it in their pool and have that experience than to think of getting in the river.
Yes. I do recommend it, by the way, because cold water is just amazing for your mental health, for sure. What I was going to say was, how can people support you guys? Is there something that you need from the public, how they can support you?
We need support, because, as we've said many times, we are a voluntary charity. Everybody involved in the charity is a volunteer. And since I was asked to look at fundraising for the team, I became aware of how much of their time the team members have to give to fundraising and training and going out on searches. Oh, and they've got a family as well and a life. So I see it as my target is to try and get enough support for the team so that people actually don't have to fundraise, team members, unless they want to. And so I'm looking to build partnerships not just with individuals who want to give money, but particularly in the Shrewsbury area with organisations, companies who would like to work with us and support us in some way, possibly buy some of the things that we need or give us money that we can use and be acknowledged, and actually develop a partnership with organisations.
And sometimes just a like or a share of a post or
Absolutely.
just like raising that little bit of awareness, especially for yourself, Victoria, get as many. I was so impressed by the community you guys have developed on there, and that means the world, doesn't it? Because it makes things run so much easier on social media when you've got plenty of followers.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you want to become a Make Our River Safer supporter or a Make Our River Safer school, you get a poster and a certificate if you take part in our courses.
We all love a certificate, don't we?
We do.
100%.
Verity, have you got any questions that you got lingering or?
No, I think you covered it. I did want to ask about the calm surface and what goes on beneath, because when I was younger and used to come out in town a lot, that was always something that was said, but I wasn't sure whether it was just a scare. But you described it with the the width and the.
You can imagine that, can't you?
Yeah, as you were saying it, I was like, oh, it makes sense.
And where the water goes round a bend and the river has undercut the bend and things can get trapped, underneath there and out of sight. So
Yeah.
And like during the floods, I saw whole trees going under the Greyfriars Bridge. God knows where that sort of debris gets lodged, maybe under the water somewhere.
Some of it does, yeah.
So you could be jumping into God knows what.
The edges of the water is slower to the middle section of the water, so it can be moving or look like it's moving quite slowly and be quite slowly from the edges, but it's really fast in the middle. And like you say, if it's going around debris or sort of like a shopping trolley that's fallen into the river or whatever, if it's got to compensate for that space that's been created, it creates like an eddy and a suction. It's kind of like how you sort of can have riptides, I suppose, or things like that can kind of grab you and move you then to a different direction. It's kind of a similar effect to that.
Yeah. There's so much to be aware of, and I think following you guys or West Mercia Search and Rescue and following Make Our River Safer, have you guys got a website or is it just a Facebook?
Just the Facebook page, yeah.
There's plenty of information on there, though, guys. Give that Facebook. You probably do already. There's lots there, but if you're not already, Make Our River Safer, and West Mercia Search and Rescue. You guys have got a very good social media following as well.
We have.
Because you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter. Is there anything else you should get on TikTok?
LinkedIn. Yeah.
If you can get some really sexy videos of you guys getting ready like Batman, I always remember actually, my uncle was mountain rescue in Ireland, and my uncle Patrick, shout out to my uncle Patrick, never going to listen to this. I went around his house and he lived in a farm in the middle of nowhere. We drove ages to go and see him, and he's like, "Oh, sorry guys, I got a call." And he went up, he came down, slid his knife into his belt, put his boots on, his hat on, and he was gone to go and save someone in the mountain. I was so impressed. You get some videos like that. You get Joel Schumacher involved.
Well, we don't always do river rescues. I mean, most of our rescues are actually on land. The difference between mountain rescue and ourselves is, I suppose, we go out looking for people who don't necessarily know they're missing. So it's dementia, mental health, suicidal,
of course,
vulnerable people, all those sorts of things. Normally, if you call out mountain rescue, you've fallen over and broken your leg somewhere. So,
and I know
actually looking to be found.
I know we're literally coming right to the end of this, but you mentioned that the police call you out and stuff. Can people call you directly if they have an issue?
Not if they're missing. No. No. So much as Victoria was saying, it's 999. The police or the switchboard will decide what is the most appropriate service,
and then they'll come to you.
And then they come to us.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Otherwise, you'll have calls all over the place, wouldn't you?
Yeah, there's something.
Can't find my mate Dave. Yeah, but
there's about 250,000 missing people in the UK every year.
Wow.
So, roughly 96% of those, 96% will be found within the first 30 minutes, hour, 2 hours, gone round the corner, not gone to see their mate, not bothered to come back home again. It's the 4% that we're really looking at, who are the high-risk people who, as I say, have dementia, some sort of mental illness, or are suicidal and don't want to be found, and they just disappear into the woodlands.
Amazing. Well, not amazing, but the statistics. of it all. It just sounds so grand. It sounds so big. Do you know what I mean? You guys do fine work, so thank you for the fact that you guys all do it voluntarily. Thank you so much for what you do, honestly.
It's incredible.
Have you guys got any comments, any messages you want to say to people before we finish this? Victoria?
I'd say, for Shrewsbury people to look out for one another. And like I say, big thing is to stick together, especially if you're on a night out. Plan your route home. Don't walk home along the river. And to, take on board, practicing the float to live. If you go to your local swimming baths, practice it, because you do have to get quite low down into the water. Some people might not like water going in their hair and their ears, but you actually have to lower your head quite into the water. And again, try not to struggle and things like that. Try to relax yourself and things like that. So that's the message I'd like to get out.
Yeah, I've practiced that before in my local swimming baths. They all got excited before the inflatables were out. No, that's very good advice. What about yourselves? Have you got any messages for people? Any messages of thanks?
Well, mine's a thanks to you. Thanks to the Biscuit for...
Hey! Get some love there.
Yeah, just thanks to the Biscuit for inviting us on to get the message across, really.
We've been planning. This has been like 2 months in the making or something like that. So I'm glad we got to do it, because... I realised that people have got their own logistical. Those guys are. Those voices are two people on kayaks that have got going past. They're having a great time. Thank you so much. No, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
To all the people that collaborate making the river safer, thank you. And to everybody that's listened today as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, guys. I'm going to ask this gentleman now who's cooking to take a picture of us.
I thought you were going to ask him for a hot
burger. Well, thank you guys for listening, guys, and we'll catch you again next time. Thank you, Verity.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What a fantastic effort that was. Honestly, I really enjoyed that one. Editing that one back, I learned all the information that we went through that day. It's a really important one, that is, I think. If you think this could be helpful to your community, or if you have a Facebook group, or a community that you're part of and you think they would benefit from hearing this podcast, please give it a share, because I think the more people that hear this, the better. We're all just out here trying to do good things in the community, and this is one of those things, I think. Just a bit of a comment on the Spitfire comment that I made during this this podcast. It's something I genuinely heard, that there used to be somebody that used to fly a Spitfire underneath the Kingsland Bridge, and then there was rumour that maybe one day he got it wrong, but I think that's just a myth. It's just a local myth. I don't believe that's actually true. So there is that. I did go and look at it, and I could find a few comments on message boards, but no actual story to back that up. So it is just a local legend. Thank you so much to the guys at the Sabrina for letting us use that picnic boat, and also being so accommodating. They're so lovely. When we got nominated for that award for Lincoln Davis, they shared my post and said that they were proud of the Biscuit. So thank you. I really do appreciate you guys and the work that you do in collaborating with local businesses around Shrewsbury, and of course the work you've done with us. So thank you, the guys at Sabrina. Last episode, I was banging on about JJ Whitehead performing at Frankville, Albert & Co. Frankville. Tomorrow, as this has been released, actually, I will be there. So if you bought tickets just on the strength of the Biscuit, or if you got tickets anyway, I will be there. I don't know if I'm going to take a microphone. A bit undecided yet. I always feel like it's a bit forced at events like that. Sometimes it's good to just go to get a picture and a selfie with whoever's reporting it, and then do some social media stuff, But either way, I'll be there. So if you see me about, come and say hi. If you haven't got your tickets yet, go to the Theatre 7 website and check availability. There is only obviously today and tomorrow to buy those tickets. So get them in quick, 5 p.m. To Albert & Co. Frankville. That's JJ Whitehead. Really, really funny guy. Anyway, guys, I will leave you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I appreciate it's a difficult subject for a lot of people, but we're all just out here just trying to do good things. And, I think we summed it up quite well a few times in that podcast, that sometimes out of tragedy can come something very positive and something very helpful towards the community. We learn from these things, and with positive messages like this, we can help others stay safer. So on that note, have a great day, folks, and peace out.